Today's story is about a bank robbery in which the robbers came up with such a strange and clever escape plan that it is now considered the most unique and brilliant method in the history of bank robberies. The robbers entered the bank, took the people inside hostage, and when the police surrounded the bank from all sides, the robbers presented their demands. The police even agreed to their demands and waited outside for the robbers to come out. But neither did the robbers take the money they demanded, nor did they come out of the bank. Instead, they escaped through a route from inside the bank that neither the police nor the bank staff knew about. So, what did the robbers really come for? Why did they escape without taking the demanded money? And what was that escape route that helped them flee from the bank successfully? You'll be shocked to hear this. The story begins on June 27th, 1995, when the alarm goes off at a police station in Germany's capital, Berlin, at 10 a.m. This was the alarm triggered from the bank to alert the police about a robbery. As soon as the alarm sounded, the police rushed to the bank and surrounded it from all sides. Upon reaching, they discovered that the robbers had taken 16 people hostage, including bank employees and customers. The robbers had their faces covered with masks and were armed with machine guns, pistols, and grenades. Now, the German special forces also arrived at the bank and surrounded it. They even placed snipers on nearby buildings. The news spread so fast across Berlin that media reached the spot too and began broadcasting the incident. This caused the news to spread like wildfire throughout Germany. The area around the bank was completely closed to the public, and the police, along with German authorities, established a direct phone connection with the bank to talk to the robbers and learn their demands. Just half an hour after the police arrived, the robbers released a hostage holding a letter. The letter stated that the robbers wanted $12 million. It also contained a warning. If the police tried to enter the bank, they would shoot all the hostages. So the police decided to negotiate with the robbers and try to get them to release some hostages before handing over any money. However, the robbers had blocked all phone lines for hours, leaving the police with no choice but to wait outside. Finally, at 6 p.m., the robbers made a female hostage call a Berlin radio station. On the call, the woman tearfully begged to be saved or the robbers would kill them. The biggest reason for this call was that the robbers wanted the entire city to hear the crying and pleading so the hostages would gain public sympathy and pressure would build on the police and German authorities to bring the money quickly. And that's exactly what happened. The whole city stood in support of the hostages, and there was even talk of bringing in the military. However, the police denied all such requests and decided to continue surrounding the bank. Meanwhile, the robbers refused to talk or negotiate with the police. The biggest question that kept bothering the police was, why were the robbers not speaking directly with them? Suddenly, a gunshot was heard from inside the bank. The police got scared, thinking the robbers had killed a hostage. Just as the police were about to crash into the bank with a truck, one of the robbers came to the bank entrance with a hostage at gunpoint. At the gate, the robbers shouted to the police and media that if their demand were not met, they would kill all the hostages. This threat had such an impact on the police and German authorities that they decided to resolve the situation at any cost. So, at 7 p.m., they sent an officer inside the bank with $4 million, 1/3 of the demanded amount. The officer handed over the money and came back out. After that, the police tried again to talk to the robbers and get them to release some hostages, but the phone lines were still blocked. 3 more hours passed. Then, at 10 p.m., a robber called the police from inside the bank and said they needed a bus parked in front of the bank with the remaining money inside. The police agreed, placed the money in a bus, and parked it in front of the bank. They also prepared a helicopter to follow the bus and catch the robbers. The robbers called again and said they would leave in the bus at 2 a.m. The police waited eagerly for 2 a.m. Finally, that moment arrived, but no one came out of the bank. The police and their entire team kept waiting for the robbers to exit the bank. Another hour and a half passed. At 3:30 a.m., the police received another call from inside the bank. But this time, it wasn't a robber, it was the bank manager. He told the police that all the robbers had gone into the basement and never returned. Hearing this, the police and German special forces entered the bank with their entire team. First, they rescued all the hostages and sent them outside. Shockingly, not a single hostage had been harmed. No one was shot, and no one was injured. After rescuing the hostages, the special forces went to the basement, but found nothing there. Then they suspected the robbers might be hiding inside the bank vault. They surrounded the vault and threw flash bombs inside before opening it. Once the smoke cleared, what they saw shook them to their core. All the safety deposit boxes were open, and their valuable contents were gone, worth millions of dollars. It became clear that the robbers had taken the $4 million in cash along with all the valuables from the deposit boxes and vanished without leaving any trace. Now, the biggest question in front of the police was, where had the robbers escaped to? Even though the bank was surrounded from all sides. This robbery was executed so cleverly that it became known as Germany's smartest robbery ever. And the mastermind behind it? Just a hospital technician who had been fired from his job. After getting rejected from many jobs, he decided to rob the bank. If a robbery is carried out along with friends, then who was this technician and how did he plan such a big heist and how did they escape from the bank after the robbery? This in itself is very surprising and thrilling. This mastermind technician's name was Khalid al-Barazi, who was originally from Syria. In 1986, he left Syria and moved to Germany. After coming to Germany, he got a job as an X-ray technician in a hospital. But the salary he was receiving for that work was, according to Khalid, too little. Though he could manage his expenses with this salary, he couldn't fulfill his desires. And this was the time when his journey of crime began. Khalid started stealing medicines and equipment from the hospital and also started selling drugs to people. But due to being caught in drug trafficking, police arrested him, and between 1991 and 1993, he was sent to jail for 2 years. In jail, Khalid met a man named Adil, who was also serving time for theft. The two became very good friends there, and in that very jail, they planned a bank robbery that shook all of Germany. After being released from jail, the two started surveying banks in Berlin so they could target the right one for their robbery. Around this time, Khalid also involved his brother Tony al-Barazi, who ran a garage, but due to not earning well, agreed to join them. Tony told them about a bank named Commerce Bank located near his garage. After seeing it, the three decided that they would rob this bank. Now Khalid went to that bank as a customer and told the manager he wanted a safe deposit box to keep his valuables. The manager took him to the basement vault and showed him the deposit boxes. After seeing so many safety deposit boxes inside the vault, Khalid's eyes lit up. He knew very well that these deposit boxes held valuables worth millions of dollars. Now Adil and Khalid began planning the robbery and decided they would enter the bank through a tunnel. But the biggest question in front of them was where they would start digging the tunnel from. Then Tony told them about an empty garage near his own garage, about 200 meters from the bank. Khalid met the owner of that garage and told him that he was a Greek businessman and needed a place to keep small machines. After this, they rented the garage. Now, they needed more people to help with the operation. So Adil brought in 2 more men who had helped him in previous thefts. Now a gang of 5 people was fully prepared for the robbery. They started digging the tunnel on June 5th, 1994. The digging work was divided into 3 parts. 2 people would dig the tunnel and bring out the dirt and sand. 2 others would arrange wooden and iron rods to support the tunnel so it wouldn't collapse. The 5th man would stay outside the garage and keep an eye out, signaling others in case of danger. They started working 12 to 14 hours daily in shifts. But even after 5 months, they had dug only 60 to 70 meters. The main reason for the delay was that they had to carry the dirt through the entire tunnel to outside, which took extra time. After 8 months of digging, they felt they were close to the bank vault. But one morning, Khalid saw some workers digging the road for maintenance, right above their tunnel, to fix cable wires. Seeing this, Khalid and his gang rushed inside the tunnel and began removing the wooden and iron rods. They wanted the tunnel to collapse during the workers' digging so no one would find out about it. Khalid now thought his whole plan was ruined and decided to pause digging until the workers were done, which took 4 months. After the workers were gone, Khalid's gang resumed digging, and after 14 months, they finally reached the bank vault. However, instead of directly entering through the tunnel, which could trigger the alarm, Khalid came up with a genius plan to mislead the police. On June 27, 1995, Khalid, his brother Tony, and Adil entered the bank with weapons and took everyone inside hostage. Then Khalid and Tony negotiated with the police, while Adil went to the basement and started digging upward into the vault. As soon as the hole was made, two more gang members, who were waiting inside the tunnel, came up into the vault with drills and hammers. Meanwhile, to mislead the police, Khalid released one hostage with a letter demanding $12 million and also blocked all phone lines for 5 hours so police would just wait outside. During those 5 hours, his gang opened all the vault's lockers, which held gold, silver, cash, and other valuables worth $8 million. They escaped through the tunnel, while the police were waiting outside with a bus they had requested. They reached the garage where the digging had begun, took the $4 million they had demanded from the police and the $8 million they stole, and vanished. When police later entered the vault, they saw a hole in the ground and immediately understood that the thieves escaped through the tunnel. They followed the tunnel to the garage, but found nothing. Meanwhile, Khalid and his gang watched the news about the robbery at home. The news reported that police had no clues about the robbers, which made Khalid very relaxed. He told his gang to stay in Berlin and continue with their daily routine. But Khalid's overconfidence and mistake led to their capture. As clever as the robbery was, they showed the same level of stupidity in trying to escape. Police formed a special investigation team of 60 people and started scanning every detail. First, they scanned the vault but found no fingerprints, DNA, or clues. Then they questioned the hostages, who told them that the robbers had an Arabic accent. Police also questioned the garage owner, who rented the place to Khalid. He said Khalid told him he was a Greek businessman, and he knew nothing more. Then one day, a construction worker from a nearby building came to police and told them that he had seen 3 Arabic-looking men working at his site. Police took sand samples from the construction site and sent them for testing. The lab confirmed that the sand matched the one from the tunnel. Police then made sketches of those men based on the worker's description and published them in newspapers and TV. Just 5 days later, someone called the police and told them that one of the men in the sketch matched a person working at a garage near the bank. That man was Tony Albarazi, Khalid's brother. Police visited Tony's garage and questioned him. He denied knowing anything about the robbery, but police got suspicious and took the glass he drank juice from to get his fingerprints. In their database, police also found that Tony had a brother, Khalid Albarazi, who had a criminal record for theft and drug trafficking. Now police were sure of their involvement, but had no solid proof. Then the investigation team, along with the army, went to seal the tunnel and did one last scan. This time, they found a piece of wood with fingerprints, which matched Tony's fingerprints from the juice glass. Police arrested Tony and questioned him for 7 hours, during which he broke down and confessed everything, including names of his gang. Police immediately arrested Khalid and the others. They were all sentenced to 5 to 10 years, while Khalid, being the mastermind, got 14 years. Though Khalid could have escaped Berlin after the robbery, his overconfidence got him caught. Even after pulling off Germany's greatest heist, police were able to recover only $4 million from the gang. The remaining $8 million was known only to Khalid, who refused to say anything. Khalid was released from prison in 2010, where $8 million and a luxurious life were waiting for him. The life he had always dreamed of. How did you like this story? Do write in the comments section. Like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.